Rashad, why you
Anyways.
didn't hit me up?
What's up, Rashad?
Hey, Rashad.
What's up, Rashad?
Thank you, Rashad.
Brother, I love you, brother.
What's up, Rashad? What it do, boy?
Hey, Rashad.
Chamberlain's 100-point game is 100% real. And if you actually do not believe that it happened, then I'm worried about you. Basically, any skepticism about the entire existence of the game seems to start with the fact that there's no video footage. But you have to understand that was not at all uncommon in 1962 for the NBA, which was not at all a popular league at the time, especially for this game, which was played at an even smaller venue in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Also, lack of video footage does not at all mean lack of evidence. There's a radio broadcast of the game, and there were, thousands of fans in attendance, along with statisticians and announcers, and of course, 24 players. In fact, several players who were on the receiving.
I probably said this before, but I really wanted to interview Al Ados about this game, and he passed away before I got the opportunity to get a hold of him. But shout out to Al Ados, God rest his soul. Shout out to the Aggies. Shout out to A&T, man.
End of this 100-point performance were vocal about the fact that they were not happy about this game. Pablo Torre pretty recently did a great deep dive into this whole topic, and as part of that, he brought up an old interview done with Daryl Imhoff. Shout out Cal Bears legend, Hoop Grid's legend, Daryl Imhoff, who was guarding Wilt for a large portion of the game and actually fouled out in doing so. And old Daryl was pissed about the fact that Wilt hung 100 on them, but he, of course, didn't deny that the game happened. What he said is that the refs gave Wilt a super favorable whistle, and that at the end, the game devolved into a completely insane stat padding clown show, which it did, which is another reason the skepticism about whether or not the 100-point game actually happened doesn't make sense. Wilt scored 100 in the lamest way possible. If you were going to somehow concoct this myth, which would never be possible, you would make it like the perfect game, right? That's not how it went down. The Warriors were fouling up 20 in the final minutes just to get Wilt more touches to try to get 100. He took 21 shots in the fourth quarter alone. He took 63 shots overall in the game and 32 free throws. So it's not like this was the immaculate performance of all performances. This was the most selfish at the time, stat-obsessed player in basketball history trying to pull off an achievement that nobody else ever had. And when you consider that this was such a ridiculously fast-paced era of basketball, teams were averaging like 130 possessions per game, and that this season, Wilt averaged 50 points per game against just 2 assists per game, by the way. And then you consider the final score of this game was 169 to 147. And you consider that, yes, Wilt was very obsessed with his own numbers as a basketball player, and that he very brazenly prioritized that in this game in an egregious fashion. And call me crazy, I think it all just makes sense. I'm not sitting here trying to call this the greatest performance ever. In fact, I think Wilt's 1962 season is actually overrated. To me, he clearly peaked a good bit higher in 1967 when he maxed out his efficiency as a scorer, was bringing you elite playmaking value, all-time defense, and rebounding. That's when he became the ultimate winning version of himself. But the 1962 version of Wilt was the one that was going to score 100 in a game. And he did. That's not up for debate. It happened. And if anybody responds to this with something like, oh, we have video of Babe Ruth, how do we not have footage of this game? You understand that you only have a little bit of footage of Babe Ruth, right? Just like we have footage of Wilt, absolutely. But we don't have footage of a vast majority of his games because many of them weren't broadcast initially. Many that were broadcast were later taped over. Like, this is the 1960s, man. It was a totally different world in terms of the availability of video footage. And if you refuse to believe in historical events just because they lack video footage, even if they're otherwise well documented, well, that's really problematic because that means you don't believe in 99% of human history, or at least you believe that you have the right to just arbitrarily cast doubts upon, again, well-documented, well-established historical moments. And that can lead to some very dangerous places. That can enable people to just deny reality whenever they decide they don't want to believe it. That's how you get people who deny the Holocaust and think all sorts of crazy things that unfortunately is increasingly common today. And of course, the stakes are not that high with Wilt's 100-point game, but this denial of history becoming increasingly mainstream is insane in all forms and is very bad in all forms. You did not have to witness George Washington and the boys cross the Delaware River for it to have actually happened. Unfortunately, nobody was there to live tweet that one.
Hey,
and
yo.
yet it happened all the same. History is real, and so was Wilt's 100-point game.
Let me see if I can find an interview of him talking about it. I was gonna look it up in my free time, but I want to look it up now. Just you know, so when I send this to my boy. When I send this to my boy. All right, hold on.
Points in one game, which I believe was versus the Knicks, 1962.
That's right.
Is that right?
It's a long time ago. Right, yeah, right.
Was there a point? 100 points in one game. Was there a point where just the other team like left and made sandwiches on the bench? I mean,
well, I really wish it was. Actually, they were really very embarrassed about the whole thing. And so they were mad at me, you know, and I was just out there trying to have fun.
At 85 points, did you start to feel bad a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
and the people
I'll just try and miss this one. 100 points.
And I did that. I know. I did that. Then my mother scolded me when I got home. You should be ashamed of yourself. You know, it was not an easy night.
No.
Yeah, because I had a lot of friends on the Knicks.
100 points.
Because I had a lot of friends on the Knicks. Oh, this dude's an a-hole. Rest in peace to Wilt. Oh my goodness. Jeez. I felt bad because I had a lot of friends on the Knicks. It's crazy. Here's a video.
Rashad, why you didn't hit me up?
What's up, Rashad? Hey, Rashad.
What's up, Rashad?
Thank you, Rashad.
Brother, I love you, brother.
What's
up, Rashad? What
it do, boy?
Hey, Rashad.